Value of someone in the newer generation is different than someone in the older generation. I held a seminar about it a while ago, how to attract Gen Z in your company. We have a lot of employers that were from the older generation. It's giving them the freedom and the purpose to do things and make their own decisions and to bring value.
What are the key trends looking at that employee value proposition that you think companies should be aware of?
A lady in the crowd asked me also a question: why should I change so much and offer so much flexibility to Gen Z? So one, if you don't change, you will not be seen as relevant. So there are so much offers in the market that they can choose for something different. So if you're not willing to adapt, then there's thousands of other companies that are gonna be compelling for the new generation. And two, the new generation is so adaptable and makes so much nice use of the new technology. They know how to use AI. They're very on top of the latest trends in the market. So as your company is changing and the industry is changing as well, they know exactly what's going on, and they're on top of their game and can help you become versatile and future-proof.
So in today's episode of the Redefine Growth Podcast, we got our very own Gino Boekelaar, our talent hacker at Sprints and Sneakers, to talk about the future of talent acquisition, how you become very attractive as an employer, and some secret tactics that we've been using to attract a lot of talent. So stay tuned for this one. It's going to be a fun one. Cheers. Gino Boekelaar,
Bart Snijders.
our very own talent hacker at Sprints and Sneakers. I'm very excited about this episode because we want to talk about recruitment marketing, talent acquisition management, employer branding, employee value proposition, which some of you might not know if I mention it like that, but we're going to explain all of it in this episode. I'm very happy that you're here. Can you tell a little bit about your background, where you came from in terms of your working experience, and what you like to do nowadays?
Of course, thanks for having me. And it's a lovely conversation to have, because it's also about how we care about our employees, our colleagues, and we're all humans. So that's a lovely topic which I like to discuss. My name is Gino. I'm from Haarlem, and my background is in recruitment. So I've been working 5 years for a recruitment company, an agency specialized in doing life science recruitment. Very conservative. It's very based on headhunting and getting the right people in, but mainly sales driven. And that's also where recruitment has been coming from the last couple of years, from a very sales-driven approach, where we're just doing numbers and getting in touch with people. So after spending 5 years in a recruitment agency, for me it was time to switch, because within recruitment you learn more about soft skills, and what I was interested in was learning how you really set up a marketing machine that works for you, because marketing is always active, and for sales you have to do the input yourself. So 3 years ago I made the switch to Sprint Sneakers, where I was mainly focused on growth hacking and combining that with recruitment, which has been very interesting, an interesting involvement.
Cool.
That about me, yeah.
Nice. Yeah, so I think there are three main topics we're going to talk about today, or at least the attract talent, train and retain them, which obviously the most important part is going to be about attracting the right talent. And it's funny because I did a podcast recently where Andrea spoke about the importance of getting the right people in the success of the business. So let's dive into it. So where do we start? Like we talk a lot with business owners, and they want to have the right talent within the company. What's the first step that we take?
The first step that you take is that you understand what person you need in your team, and not only about competencies, because you can train skills, but character you can't really develop further. So you hire character that also fits with your company and your mission. So understanding what you need as a company for your future growth is very, very important. So you start with what is my why of the company, and what kind of person do I need to get close to this why and this mission, to accomplish this mission.
Mm.
Um, in the end, it's about the people, and the people can adapt to your company, but should also fit with each other. So first, we always start with getting in touch with the business owners and talking about why they need a certain person, what someone needs to bring to the table, but also what the market offers, of course, because there's a very big difference in what do you want and what is available in the market. Because in the end, you often come in somewhere close to the middle. And in some cases, company owners don't always have a very realistic point of view on what they need, but also what they can offer the specific candidate in this process. Next to that, you also want to know what the minimum requirements are, of course, of a position. Do you really need someone with a specific software that they know, or is it something that they can learn? Do I need a very specific soft skill that someone has, or do I need someone who is very opposite of myself, as you and Gijs, for example, are? So yeah, understanding what you need is also a very interesting thing. You talked about it with Andrea, but the people come first, and then you can go further with where you're going to. Because the people you have on the bus determine also where in the end your bus will go and what the destination is.
Yeah.
That's very important to have the right people on board for that.
I hope you like this podcast. Do you know who we should invite? Please leave their names in the comments and hit that like and subscribe button, because there's some more exciting guests to come. So practically, does that mean that you have like an overview of, hey, in the upcoming years, this is how we grow our business, and I totally agree that it should be aligned with, of course, the direction that you're going, and then you know exactly which person with which capabilities you're going to hire on what moment. So like a strategic people planning or something that we call it now.
Yeah, and strategic people planning gives a lot of vision also for the future. Knowing what your business goals are and who and what you need to attain these business goals is very important. So you can start with sketching a five-year timeline, where you exactly know what milestones your company wants to accomplish, and what kind of person will be very relevant to accompany you on that journey. So do you first need to start with sales because you already have a very good product? Or do you need to hire someone in software because you're still building the product and you don't have the specific experience yourself? Yeah, those are challenges that you need to discover for yourself. What obstacles might be on your way, and which people can help you to overcome these obstacles. And of course, it's never definite. Because the journey always changes, but knowing what people you might need and thinking in advance about that, that gives you a proactive mindset, and gives you also the idea that you know what obstacles might be in your way.
Well, it's a very good start. And okay, so we know which people we want to hire at what moment and what they should be capable of doing. Or should be capable of learning, obviously. And then second, what's the second step that we take?
The second step that we take is also understanding the person. So let's call it the persona. So if you have, for example, on your planning to hire a lot of software guys, that's very different when you want to hire salespeople. So understanding what they specifically need and what will be a very nice benefit for them is very important. So doing your research on the personas and the people you want to hire gives you a competitive advantage to also adjust your offering to these kind of persons. Because when you're building a software team, then it's very important that you have a very strong product, or that your mission in building towards a very strong product is very clear. Because these people they value the technology and the technological challenges that might come on the way. Whereas when you're also busy building a sales team, you should also be thinking about how you can compensate them and what your company's mission is, and how they can sell that to the customers, of course. So doing your research on the market, what the market has to offer, and what you could offer in return to the people you want to hire is a very interesting topic. Because that gives you a very clear idea how you can continue and what your plan of approach should be.
So, and then maybe you already mentioned it. The third step is the planned approach. So, if I understand you correctly, the second step is getting like a candidate persona to understand them very well. Who is that person that we're looking for? What is he or she looking for in business, and are they looking for purposeful work, etc. So, is that already the part where you start developing your employee value proposition, or is that the next step?
It depends if we're talking about hiring for a specific vacancy or you're setting up your hiring goal. So in some cases, recruitment can be very reactive, so to say. So recruitment can be a one-time solution for a problem. So some companies don't grow that much and just want to hire a person once in a while. Whereas when you're building towards your dream company and have a very big ambition and a big mission, you want to think already about your employee value proposition as well. So what is it? What my company stands for? What is our mission? But what is also the mission where my future employees can feel? How would I say?
To feel aligned with that mission. Maybe
Yeah.
is that what you're talking about?
Yeah. So when you talk about the employee value proposition, you want to make clear what your mission and the vision of your company is, but specifically also how people can align with your mission and vision and what it brings to them. What is it what you offer to them, and what is it what they can learn from it the coming years, and how they can accompany this mission. So when making the employee value proposition, it's also very good to understand what kind of different segments of people I have within the company, so the personas, what's important for them, and how your company mission can really be aligned with their values and their dreams as well. Because the employee value proposition is not about how your company is going to be great, but how you're going to be great with your employees and your colleague, and what you're going to change together, and which journey you have ahead of each other.
Yeah.
And the culture is a very important thing in that. So the culture, the mission, the people, but also in the end, of course, what you do and the offering you have as a company.
Yeah, that's interesting. And I see a difference between the employer branding part and the employee value proposition. Whereas if you compare it with the commercial side of doing businesses, the employer branding part is more like your brand strategy, your brand awareness, so the why your business, and the emotional part, where the employee value proposition can be more compared to the unique buying reasons or the unique selling points that you have as a company. And that's where, hey, we got an academy in place which allows you to develop very rapidly. Hey, we got amazing other people, and we got these additional benefits that are very relevant for you, and all these reasons why they should choose you compared to other companies. And I think that's a really relevant exercise to think of, because what I see in many cases, companies skip that part and just copy some kind of vacancy online and then push it online, not really think through what the reason should be why this candidate, and really understand them, why this candidate should choose your company to work at. And I believe that's one of the things that you typically do within the work, is interviewing these people as well, to really understand them, and to adjust that employee value proposition towards the things that they're looking for.
Yeah, it's a very interesting thing you say about the difference between the employee value proposition and employer branding. In the end, the branding is also, your mission, your vision, your why. But the value proposition is also something what makes your company unique, especially for the employees. What do you offer different than competitors? But how do you also behave different? So you mentioned the unique selling points. So these are the things what makes your company great. But the unique buying reasons are the reasons why people like me, for example, work at Sprints and Sneakers. And that's not only because we have a great product and I love growth hacking, but it's also because the people really care within the company, and there's room to talk about your ambitions and your goals. But there's also the responsibility that you guys give me to make decisions with you, and major company decisions, and be involved in that.
Mm.
So that is what makes your company unique, the unique buying reasons. And by interviewing your employees, you also learn about what makes your company unique, and you can implement this in your employee value proposition.
Yeah, and it's funny because, and a lot of times, the hiring managers or like the HR, people culture managers, they, or even like the owner, they have something in mind, which is the reason why people choose a certain company. And they think it's because of the laptop that they get or like the 25-day holidays. But we often find different reasons why they actually work. And I think that's the exact difference between a unique selling point, where you look at it from a unique business perspective, or the unique buying reason where you look at it from a candidate perspective, because their motivation can be, maybe it's the manager they spoke to in the recruitment process, that they really love that guy and the vision that he or she has, and that was the reason why they chose actually to become part of that team, which you don't really know, and you don't put that in a vacancy, maybe, but it could be the exact reason why someone chose that company. So that's where I think it's super relevant, and it's a must do for everyone, I think, to interview these people.
For sure, for sure. It's it's a very nice tip for all the business owners. When you have a vacancy open, start with interviewing your best performing or your happiest employees, and ask them why they come work for the company, and what the company offers to them in return. What's in it for them? Why they stay, and why they're so enthusiastic about the company. So that's a big win that you can make when recruiting for a certain vacancy.
And while doing that, sorry to interrupt, while doing that, please set up a camera and use that content as well, because that's kind of like a client case. Well, I can say as a business owner, it's so cool to work at our company, but it's my baby, and I would always believe that, right? Even if it's not the case, I think so. But if other people say, that's why also when people apply for a job at Sprints and Sneakers, they join for a day, because they can actually feel the energy, they can feel the vibe, they can talk to other people, and it's not me that says like, okay, this is a very cool company to work at, because probably every business owner would say something like that. It's kind of like your referral, your proof that actually people that work there feel that way.
Yeah, social proof is very relevant within recruitment, and it's often a step which has been skipped by a lot of companies. Because often they get caught up in the day-to-day work, and they just want to hire quickly, but they don't think about what value they want to offer. And social proof, especially from your own employees, that's one of the most powerful tools to boost the relevancy of your vacancy. Another interesting thing, what you mentioned also, is that companies skip this often. It's a very easy step to take. But that also makes that a lot of the vacancies are very boring to read, because it's just a long text with the requirements and the specifics about the job. And that's also what has been changing over the years. Companies are very formal in most ways, especially B2B companies. But when you're hiring and when there's a lot of competition also, you don't want to sound boring. You want to sound unique, and you want to sound enthusiastic and want to inspire people. And that's, for me, the major difference between a company that's good at hiring and a company that's bad at hiring. Your character and your authenticity.
Yeah, and one of the things I see changing as well, that I once made this graph where like some time ago, it was the circle would be, hey, this is your job title and this is the salary that you will get. But nowadays, if you look at where people are looking for, and you have that circle, then it's, hey, the people want to feel freedom. They want to have personal development. They want purposeful work. They want a clear mental state of mind, and they want to have some holidays, and they want to have, so the circle's filled with so many more things than just the job title and the salary that you get. So I think companies need to adjust to that as well, and not only say, okay, this is the salary, you get a laptop and a car, electric car, but that's not how it works anymore. There should be, so the employee value proposition should be thought of well through, because it's you need to compete nowadays. That's what I think you said before this part as well. The market is changing as well, and we need to understand that these changes in the market you need to work a little bit harder to attract the talent that you're looking for, I believe, no?
Yeah, the market is changing, has been changing the last couple of years, but also in a positive way. Because let's say 10 years ago, you could place a job offer in the local newspaper and get a lot of applications.
Yeah.
Nowadays, it's more difficult to stand out because there are so much offers in the market.
Hmm.
So we live in a generation with an information overload. So it's also very difficult for people to find your company or to find out about your company. So when they do, you have a couple of seconds to inspire them also. So knowing why your company stands out, why you do what you do, and why people should join the journey, what you can offer them is a very important thing also to know. Because you're at least 40 hours or so, maybe in some cases part-time less, but on average you're 40 hours per week with your colleagues.
Hmm.
Then you can better make the time memorable and do the things you love, have a big purpose, um, work in a company that's purpose focused and wants to make a change in the world. And also in your job offering, yeah, that's more than the salary you get and the 8% holiday allowance and the holidays. It's also about knowing what your future entails. Working with lovely colleagues that care, training, personal development, going to the gym, well-being is of course a very important topic. And that's also because people want to make a difference with their company and they want to have a big responsibility. But hand in hand, that also comes with they want their freedom as well. So when you give people a huge responsibility, give them their freedom in return, and that boosts morale and productivity as well. Because people feel that they make their own decisions, which help the company instead of someone ordering them to do things. That's a very different mindset.
What are the key trends looking at that employee value proposition that you think companies should be aware of? Also looking at the new generation, what is the shift that you see and the change companies need to make to attract that new generation of talent?
Yeah, how to attract a new generation of talent is a very interesting question you ask. I held a seminar about it a while ago. How to attract Gen Z in your company. We have a lot of employers that were from the older generation, and it's giving them a purpose. It's giving them the freedom and the purpose to do things and make their own decisions and to bring value. But the value of someone in the newer generation is different than someone in the older generation. A lady in the crowd asked me also a question: why should I change so much and offer so much flexibility to Gen Z? What do they have to offer me? And the question was I could understand it, but the answer is very clear. We have multiple answers to that question. So one, if you don't change, you will not be seen and you will not be seen as relevant. So there are so much offers in the market that they can choose for something different. So if you're not willing to adapt, then there's thousands of other companies that are and that are going to be compelling for the new generation. And two, the new generation is so adaptable and makes so much nice use of the new technology that they can learn the older generation a lot. They're very adaptable. They know how to use AI. They're very on top of the latest trends in the market. So as your company is changing and the industry is changing as well, they know exactly what's going on and they're on top of their game and can help you become versatile and future-proof. So in the end, when we talk about what should the companies do to become attractable for Gen Z, is again, I would ask the younger generation in your company. So interview the people that are from the younger generation, and hey, what do we need to change to become more relevant and more I would say
Interesting to this generation, yeah.
Yeah. So when you ask the younger generation, what should we change? It's often not about the money. It's not about the money or the cars or the specific monetary benefits. It's more about making them responsible, and giving them the challenge, and also trusting them. And they value diversity. They value impact, making an impact in the world and changing things. They're very revolutionary because they know that the future will not be how would I say indefinite. There is a limit to our time on this world, and they want to make the best out of it. So most of the time they spend with your company, they want to do that in a purposeful way. So yeah, often what you see is that companies also don't really tell about the culture. So what you, for example, can do is starting with writing out what your culture is and why you behave a certain way. You can start with sharing pictures of your employees and what you do together and what kind of impact you make. So the changes and the things that you can do are very easy to pick up and are very close to the authenticity of the company. But often the reality is different from what people see online. So that's one of the big things that I see with companies that I work with. When you're there on location, it's a very great atmosphere, and they really do amazing things, and you didn't even know that they did these things. But when you look online, you see maybe 10% of that story. So they're not very good at storytelling yet, or they're afraid to tell the story because they're maybe a bit formal still, and they don't do that for their clients. But for your employees, it's good to be transparent and to tell that story and to show your character, so to say.
So is that so? Back to the steps. So the first step is to understand who you need at what time with what capabilities or the capabilities that they can learn. Second is to understand that candidate persona, or could also be first to start with your employer brand. I would say the second and the third could be maybe changed around, or depending on the situation, obviously, but you need to understand the candidate persona and the employee value proposition and the brand that you're building, because you're not only building your brand for the customers, you're also building your brand for the potential talent that you need within your within that adventure and that mission that you have. So is the third one, of the fourth one actually then, is that translating the employee value proposition, the employee branding into everything that you show towards that talent that you're looking for?
When I look at the steps I would take, I would advise companies to take. So when I look at the steps that my advice is you take, is first starting what is your mission, what is your why does your company exist on this earth. The second step is getting an insight on your personas, the different people in your company, and interviewing them and asking them what they value. The third is bringing these two together and making that your employee value proposition, so to say. So combining the knowledge you have from your employees and your own mission, and combining that in an employee value proposition. And the fourth is then also how you're going to share that story. So where are you active on at the moment? So you have your own website. Do you tell a story on your website? Do you tell the story on your socials? Do you share some videos or some photos once in a while about your company and your happy employees? Which channels are you active on, and which channels are you not active on? And are they relevant for the people you want to hire in the future? And the next step after that is when you have these channels in place, start promoting it as well. So social media advertisement is a very easy and low barrier market to enter. You can start with the social media advertising in a very low effort way, and you can start promoting your most important vacancies. That's very transactional when you need someone next month. But when you have the time, start also promoting your culture. And start with raising awareness about your company, because most people potentially don't know about your company and what is great about your company yet. So start with sharing maybe a culture playbook about the culture you have, for example, at Sprints and Sneakers, and what it offers to the employees, and what the testimonials of these employees said already about the culture, and what you want to change in this world, and what you can offer for people also in return.
Yeah, and I think it's a very good advice, because if I understand you correctly, what you're saying is you kind of build a funnel where a lot of companies, they copy that vacancy, they put it online and start pushing that one, while if you compare that, for example, that would be like walking towards a girl in a bar and say like, hey, do you want to come home with me? Like, I think you need to prepare that a little bit, right? You need to enthusiast them first. And for example, we organize a festival, we organize quite some events, we show who we are, what we do, our thought leadership position, and this is all content to make them enthusiastic about the company and the culture that we have, and we show all this. And then at some point you can say, hey, well, you're an amazing talent. Do you want to work at our company? But not at the first step. So, and if you compare that with the commercial side, we never say, oh, you should work with Sprinter Sneakers. When nobody heard about us, like, what are they thinking? Like, who's Sprinter Sneakers? So why should I work with you? What is your goal, right? So, and that's, I think, an interest strategy that you talk about. It's also your social strategy. Set that up in the right way, and understand the moment where you get them to apply at your company. I think it's very important.
Yeah, that's a major win, and also a change in mindset. Recruitment is marketing in the end. So recruitment used to be sales because the offering was very low and not as big as currently. But now it's also creating these touch points, using demand generation, and not selling your product at the first contact point.
Yeah.
So when we don't know each other, and I'm gonna ask you at the first question, hey, do you want to sell? Do you want to buy my services? That's a very direct thing to say, of course. When we haven't built trust, we don't have social proof yet, and we haven't even seen what the offer might entail. So you want to build this confidence, of course, also with your future employees.
Yeah.
So seeing recruitment as marketing, comparing that with each other, is a big shift in mindset, but also something where you can learn from, and where companies can see a major increase in profitability from as well. So what I would advise also is thinking about your employee journey, or the employee. So what I would think of is So what I would advise is also to make an employee journey. So sketch out the different touch points you have with someone before you offer them a job. For example, you have, of course, your hiring website, the videos that they're active on. You have your social media. Maybe you organize some events. You share some knowledge as well. Maybe you have a podcast. Do you do webinars? What kind of knowledge do you give in return? And how do you keep people engaged with your company? So when I used to work as a recruiter at Sprinter Sneakers, we had some people that applied at the positions at our company, but they were already following our company for at least a year. So they had seen some webinars from us, and they downloaded some checklist and some knowledge from our website. But even with partners, they saw some social proof that we were a very good growth hacking company, or we are a very good growth hacking company. So building this confidence and building this social proof is very important for people to make the next step.
Good point.
Yeah.
Good point. Yeah, and I also still remember, for example, Monique applying for a position at Sprinter Sneakers, where she visited our festival like 1.5 years ago, and it was apparently a very good touch point in getting them enthusiastic about the company. And that's also, I think, a company should consider. There's more for people. If you organize a really cool festival with the jeugdvertegenwoordiger or the artists and the speakers that we had, that's also a reason to join a company and be proud of that. Like, but we as a small agency do things normally only big agencies do. So that's I think a good advice.
Yeah, for sure, and it's a very good advice. And another advice that I have is that these events, they should not only be for hiring. You can also combine that, of course, with doing more sales or getting your current clients and partners involved in. So you can do it for new business. You can do it for client retention. You can do it for hiring. You can do it to make your own employees happy.
Yeah.
So these things that you do, they're part of your company brand. But often what we forget is that our branding and our internal marketing is mainly focused on doing more sales, but it builds on so much more segments as well. What I mentioned about your current clients and partners, how can you make sure that they are more involved with your company? How can you involve your own employees and make them really ambassadors? and make sure that they tell the story, so you don't have to do that. And what can you do for future employees that are not part of your company yet? Are you, for example, active on universities and giving seminars and guest lectures? What do you give in return to these young students that might not be interesting now, but maybe over 2, 3, maybe 4 years can become a very important part of your workforce? So yeah, when you think about that, it's all part of the bigger brand strategy, but recruitment's often let out of it, and that's a big loss for some companies. When you shift that mindset, it can be something which is very valuable to your company.
Yeah, one of the things what I find interesting about what you say is also getting your employees as an ambassador to not only share the story of your company, but also attract potential new candidates. Because I believe word of mouth in marketing has been proven one of the most, the strongest way of marketing your product or service. And I think it works the same in the recruitment side, right? So you can see like very talented people coming via the network of the current people within the team. And which might be fun to share is that we got your hack your bucket list thing going on within Sprints and Sneakers, which I once came up with because I paid a recruitment agency quite some money. And I thought of, well, maybe I'm more willing to spend that money on the team and give them an amazing experience. So we came up with this hack your bucket list idea, so everyone in the team can give think of their bucket list, things they want to do. It can be a trip to Ibiza for a weekend, or 3 days in the Sahara, or jumping out of a plane. All these kind of things. And 9 out of 10 is cheaper than a recruiter, like a traditional recruiter, not than you, I believe. Second, and the benefits that you talk about, both for the team, but also for the candidates that are coming in via the team, are often of high quality, because you won't refer someone that you don't believe is going to do the job. I thought it's experience that you offer that they're never going to forget. So you can offer them a bonus, obviously, which for some people might be more beneficial. So that's also an option within, rather than the experience, get a bonus. Tax-wise, I think an experience also might be a little bit more interesting, but that's just a side note. This experience will stay with them for so long, right? So if you get that weekend to Ibiza from the company and you go there with your girlfriend, you remember that. And obviously you can get a bonus as well, but you'll forget about that pretty fast, I believe. So that's maybe something company owners, entrepreneurs, but also people and culture managers should think of. So how we can really mobilize our team to share that, share the word, and attract new talented people to join the company.
Yeah, for sure. I completely agree with you. Referrals are one of the strongest tactics, or you could even call it part of your strategy to get new people in. Because what you mentioned about a referral, you don't refer someone you don't have trust in. And they should have trust in you as well for inviting them. So when it comes then to a hire, you have a very strong bond between two people that already know each other. And they're on a shared mission together to accompany your business and make sure that you attain the new goals. It saves money. It's very, very useful. And it's highly, how would I say, the chances of succession are very high and often. So what's a missed out opportunity maybe is thinking about, do you have a referral program, and how do you promote your referral program, and what should the rewards be in your referral program? Because I know in some positions it's people value the money more. So I would think of a couple of companies where the employees value the money as well. But when you give an experience in return, that's something that sticks, of course. But it starts with thinking about, what is your current referral program? How do I promote it? And how can I keep people engaged with that as well? You can even make it a small competition in a friendly way, because in the end, it's all about making your people ambassadors. because people are not going to refer your company when they don't give you your company a 9 out of 10 on a score of how happy they are with the company.
Yeah, and I think that last part is super important because you can get all these mechanisms in place and offer like bonuses, etc. But you really have to understand if people actually would recommend someone else. Like the employee net promoter score is a very important thing to measure, because if you score low on that, you can think of every referral mechanism out there, but they're never going to refer, right? And they might even leave the company, so that's even a bigger problem. But measure what makes them really excited about working at the company, or less excited, and make sure you fix that, so you get a high employee net promoter score, and then the referral mechanism will work. If you don't have that in place, then you can think of every bonus, etc. But they're never going to refer people to work at the company. So on the one side, they would never recommend someone who's not going to do the job. On the other side is, if the company's not cool, they would never recommend someone to work there, because, well, that's you don't offer someone that position that is not fun, right? So it's I think that's a very good point that you mentioned there.
Yeah, and also making your numbers. Getting an overview of your numbers for both attracting employees and retaining employees is a very important step that I would always advise. So for sure, attracting is important, but retaining is as much or even more important, of course. So we have a funnel, an internal funnel. I think you came up with the name. We call it the Sahara funnel. So it starts with sourcing. So how many views do you have on your career page or on your vacancies? Do you even get any views? Second is application. So how many people apply from these views on your vacancy? Third is how much people do you hire from the people that applied? Is the rate very low? Then maybe the quality of the people that apply is not good enough, or maybe you don't tell the story in the right way. But when the rate is very high, you know that you hit the sweet spot. That you know exactly why people want to work in this kind of position.
Yeah.
When we hired someone, it's very important also to have a very good onboarding. So most people decide in the first 2 weeks if they're going to stay with the company for at least 2, 3, 4 years, on the experience that they have, how they're onboarded, how their colleagues treat them, but also how the company values their opinion. So when you have a positive onboarding, you have a retention of your employees, which is the fifth one. And when you have retention, you want, of course, go from retention and having a satisfied employee to an ambassador. Someone that values the company very high, aligns with the company's missions and values, and is driven to make a change, and is also willing to help you find new talent, attain your goals, and feels part as the company as a whole. So not as an employee, but part as a stakeholder and maybe even co-owner. So in the end, the goal for companies should be, what can I do to attract talent in the right way and make them the ambassador of my company?
Yeah, well, it's good to understand that I stole that from the head of growth of Recruitee. So I didn't come up with it myself, but I definitely applied it. So thanks for that. I can't think of his name right now, but and it's good to look at that funnel from a business perspective, but also at the journey you spoke before, because how can you enhance that journey at every step, right? So how can you make it really fun to apply? How can you make it easy? How can you make the first day memorable? How can you celebrate the 54th day that they work at the company, or like some random? That's what I got from Ron Simpson, who was recently here. Do like the unexpected things a little bit more, and the onboarding amazing. But also, if they work for longer, how can you keep them satisfied? Can you change their position? Can you change their role? Can you offer them different things? And I think it's really nice to think of a great exercise is to draw a line on the wall and look at all the steps and how you can make that a really fun experience. Because we even had people that we didn't hire, but they were still recommending other people to apply at our company. And I think that's the thing you aim for, like to make every experience, every touch point, every interaction, make that a memorable one and a fun one. So they always be that ambassador, even if they don't work at the company.
Yeah, that's one of my big missions also. Getting amazing people and inspiring people with connecting them with great companies, companies that care and companies that value. So recruitment or your human strategy should be fun as well, because people also make the decision not based only on what you offer, but also what kind of character your company has and how they are unique in their own way.
Mm.
So getting these insights and getting this employee journey clear and doing unexpected things and making it fun is also what makes your company stand out from the rest. So that's also my goal with talent hacking. One, doing it in a fun way. Two, doing it cheaper than the original conservative recruitment industry, where it's a very transactional business where big fees are paid. But there's so much easier tactics how you can start with doing recruitment on a more fun and easier and a cheaper way.
Mm.
I want to bring that to the market. I want to share my knowledge on that, my knowledge of being 5 years in a recruitment agency and doing it the old way, the old-fashioned way, but also how you can combine marketing with it and make it more fun, create more touch points, and really show your character as a company.
Mm.
Because I think there's major steps we can take in that regard, and that's also very quick wins for your company to realize your goals and make it an easier and more fun progress.
Mm. Cool. Yeah. So we talked about the employer brand, the candidates that you're looking for, the employee, the value proposition that you're going to offer, and translate that in all the assets that you're like your job career page and all the social posts and etc. So let's dive into the secret tactics that we've been using, how to drive that success that you've been talking about, how to make that really so much cheaper than traditional recruiters, and just a couple of things that I believe we can share to the listeners that they can apply tomorrow to start doing their recruitment more effectively. Let's see what we can share.
For sure. So when we talk about the secret tactics that we can share about talent hacking, when you have your employer branding, employee value proposition, and your unique value proposition in place, then we can talk about the tactics. Because there's many different ways we can make recruitment more effective.
Mm.
So recruitment, there's a big difference between proactive job seekers and people that are just looking for a job on the sideline. So making use of social media advertisement, you can already get in touch with a group of people that normally would never consider leaving the job. So when we look at social media, for example, social media advertisement for hiring, about 80% of the people is not actively looking for a job, and only 20% of the people is actively looking for a job change. And these 20% is often active on an Indeed or on job platform, but the 80%, they should be activated to make a next step.
Mm.
So what can you do with your advertisements to engage them and to inspire them that they get curious and they get interested in your company? That's one of the first touch points, of course, you make. A second thing is that we can share is that most of the recruitment and the hiring steps from a candidate perspective are made from mobile and not from your desktop anymore.
Mm.
So making sure that your landing pages are compelling on mobile is very important, because about 90% of the people that apply on positions serve social media as well, and they get in touch with your company on mobile.
Mm.
We see a major change in that. What we often see is that most companies have a vacancy which consists only of text.
Mm.
So it's a very difficult to read. It's difficult to tell a story,
Not very
it's
attractive.
it's not very attractive and not
Yeah.
inspiring as well. So adding photos, adding video, adding testimonials, adding maybe even quizzes is something where you can make a big win as well.
Yeah, some data maybe about, hey, this is we measure quite a lot, right?
Mm.
So we can say, okay, people at Sprint and Sneakers, we have an ENPS score of X, and they have a stress score of Y, and they rate our connection with impact that number. So there's so much more to share than just, hey, this is the work you're going to do, and these are the benefits that we offer for it.
It's a change in perspective, because often in a vacancy, the main point of a vacancy is showing what you offer, but the change in mindset should be why you offer this. So not about, hey, what you're gonna do in this job is X or Y. You're gonna sell a product or you're gonna market a product, most people know when they apply for a marketing job that it's gonna be about marketing. But why do we do marketing, or why do we do sales? What is our big goal as a company, and how can you be part of that goal? And compels that also with your vision and your values. So thinking about why first instead of what is also a big change.
Yeah, and back to the
Mhm.
first point that you said is that so we also want to attract people that are not actively using
Yeah.
and get them in touch and not by saying, hey, come work at this company, but I think back to the events that we organize, or like understand who they are and what position they are and what they're looking for. So like, hey, here's an ebook with a couple of things you can do to make your job more impactful, or here is an e-commerce checklist because I understand you're a performance marketer at an e-com company, and actually we want you to work at our company, but we're first going to provide you with some value how to become better at your work. So already start developing and learning, and at some point I think, oh, they're driving me so much value. I learned quite a lot from them already. Maybe I should join their company so I can even learn more, right? So it's I think that's good to understand from the first point that you said. Don't stalk them with saying, I come and work at our company, but try to provide value in the position that they're in, and in that way you'll attract them at some point.
Yeah. What can you offer in return for value, of course? And why should person X be inspired by you, and what should you offer to inspire them before even giving them the offer?
Yeah.
So then it's again about why, and people are very learn focused, so to say. So people want to learn in their job. They want to be challenged. They want to get in touch with the new technologies and new tactic, and get in big challenges also. So yeah, showing them what you can offer is a very big part of it. Another nice tactic that I often use is making mobile funnels for vacancies. So instead of a job page, you have a funnel where you take different steps, where you tell a story. So you show the offer, you show the why of a company, you show the mission of the company. You click through the funnel, completely optimized for mobile. And you also do some qualification questions. So you ask the candidate, for example, what is most important for you in your job? Is that freedom? Is that money? Is that flexibility? Is that maybe career development? You ask them what they value in order to also decide if they fit both with your company goals, and if you fit with their career goals and personal ambitions. So making funnels that are mobile optimized and that also can tell a story, but in the end, where it's also very low barrier to apply. That is one of the things that makes it easy for people to apply, and makes applying also more fun. Because one of the things that you also notice that not all people have a resume available. So about 80% of the people don't have an up-to-date resume. Even for myself, yeah, it's the last time I made a resume is years and years ago. And even if I would see something interesting and I would be interested to learn more, then it's a very big step to make a resume. Because then you're going to spend hours and hours on an offer that you don't know yet. You don't know yet if it's completely your dream next step. So there should be a sort of soft conversion where you can get in touch with someone and learn more about a certain opportunity. Instead of a very big step that you need to apply for a job and need to write a motivation letter, take all these big steps where you're not even sure about yet if you want to take this next step. So there's a very big difference in between both of them. In the end, people are curious human beings, and they're open to talk. So when you make it easy to talk with you, and so share some ideas and talk about dreams in the future, people are also more willing to take the next step and get interested in your company.
Yeah, so lowering the entry barriers, and I believe LinkedIn is almost like your resume. And to be honest, like I haven't seen any resume of anyone working at Sprints and Sneakers. So I look at it from a different way, and we have certain steps in the process where we can see whether or not a person is capable of doing the things that he or she says that they're capable of, or seeing whether they have the right mindset to be willing to learn, and the capabilities, and also if they fit with. You can build in these processes along the way, and manage the quantity with the quality and balance that process to make sure that you get the right quality of candidates in. And
Yeah.
what I also think is interesting what you say, and I don't remember the name of the company, but they were looking for developers, and this is typically a group of people that companies find hard to attract. And what they've done, and I'll search for the domain and the link towards they developed that game where they ask developers to recognize the error within the code, and they should give the answer as fast as possible. So they kind of created this game where they launched that with some PR and said like, hey, we're looking for the smartest developer within a certain area of development, and they got like 30,000 users within the first week. And the game was just like a game by itself, and I understand it, but it was like you had ABC to recognize the code, and it was a timer, and then there was a leaderboard, right? But then a lot of developers thought, okay, I'm going to show them what I'm capable of, right? So, but in the end, it was just like a recruitment mechanism, because all these 30,000 people that play the game could be retargeted, and in some cases, you even had their email address because they wanted to be on the leaderboard. So you built something like a sort of a lead magnet, a candidate magnet, which is not saying, "Hey, you can work at a company." No, we're looking for the best developer in the world, and you promote that game, and then you try to get them towards your company. And the fun thing about the game, what I find is that you can even see which developer is really, really good.
Yeah,
So
and that's also in the end understanding your target audience, because you understand that developers are very competitive at what they do, and they want to be
best,
good
yeah.
at and the best in developing code or in engineering, but they also like gaming in their free time. They want to show that they can crack some complex situations and some big challenges. So they like the challenge. They like a very technical aspect of it, but they don't like talking with you on LinkedIn about a job offer when they don't know you yet.
Yeah.
So they're you have to win their trust in a different way and show confidence also that you understand them and that you value them as well. So yeah, there's a major difference in recruiting a developer and recruiting a marketeer. And understanding that and using that in your growth tactics is of course something which should be different.
Yeah. And one of the secret tactics I would love to share is that I know you've been using is so many entrepreneurs they have to think about people that they might or might not hire, but I think 99% of the entrepreneurs, if you ask them to give the names, the 3 high performers within their organization, and you ask them, okay, so if I find someone exactly like your 3 best performers, would you hire that person? 99% says yes, right? You never let a good talent walk away or not hiring them. That's at least how I think, and I believe a lot of entrepreneurs with me. So analyzing these high performers within a team, understanding their personality type, and we use all these tools and data we can already acquire about their experience, work experience, jobs they're doing, the certificates, but also the personality types, whether they're blue, red, etc. So we analyze these profiles and start looking for lookalikes is one of the things I see almost no one do, and it's such a great tactic, because you actually find the people of which you know they're going to high perform. And the better you're capable of matching these personalities and these types of people, the better you're sure, or the more you're sure that these people were going to perform within your organization. So that's, I think, everyone should be doing, analyze the high performance within your team and start looking for similar people.
For sure, higher personality, train skills. It's also about the mindset and what they bring in terms of character to the table. And often experience can be relatable and doesn't need specific to be in your industry or with your certain product, because you can learn that in months. I've seen that with myself as well. When I started at Prince Sneakers, I had zero experience with marketing. And within a year, 2 years, you can learn that by having the right mindset, not being afraid of challenges, and having also the right people around you that can learn you how to do it and to give you the best practices. So in the end, it's also about the willingness of the people to learn and to become better. How they compile with your company and the characteristics of your company and the values and the mission. In the end, if you can have a very good match based on character with your hiring manager and with the person in your team you want to hire, then they will be a great match. It will be a great duo, and they will be form an amazing team. And when you have a good vision and a mission and a clear goal where they're going ahead, yeah, then it's a success story. It's almost certain that it will be a success story when you look at it that way. And
Mm.
often companies look too much at the resume or the experience, and they forget the characteristics and how people function in a team based on their personality type.
Mm.
But in the end, it's the final decision they make if they like someone or not, and if the person has the right mindset. That's the final go if they should hire the person, yes or no.
Mm.
So in the end, it should be the other way around. You should have them go at first already if someone has the right mindset and the right personality for your company and your goals. And then you should look at, okay, what can someone already offer and bring to the table? What should someone learn? What should be included in his growth path or her growth path or not? And how long does it take for us to get to that level? And often it can be done in months and maybe maximum a year to get on the level. If you're not talking about, of course, medical doctors or something like that.
Mm.
In that case, it's very important, of course, to have the right experience where you're gonna do a heart surgery or something.
I hope so.
I hope so indeed. Then it's less relevant. But for most companies, you see that you can learn the skills.
Mm.
A nice example of that is when we've seen for one of our partners, Trio World. They wanted to hire more engineers for their technical department because they saw that a lot of the people in the technical department were going to the age of pension. So within a couple years, half of the technical department would go on their well-deserved pension, but they were not good at attracting young talent. So what they came up with is an apprenticeship program for a mechatronics degree. And what they did is they offered people with zero experience in the job, but only the ambition to become a mechanic.
Mm.
They offered them a good salary, a 2-year program where they could learn the job, becoming a mechanic without having prior experience, and giving people from my age or even older the opportunity to do a job change without having the big risk. Because often the big risk is when you do a job change that you have to start all over again and that you get a very low salary and that you can't afford your rent anymore or that it will be a very difficult life ahead. But what they did is they removed that risk. They offered people a way out to start in a technical degree, which is a very good career opportunity for yourself. So what you saw is that people applied on this job from all different kind of disciplines. And during the interviews, it was not anymore about, hey, what is your experience? But it was about, hey, who are you as a person? Why do you want to change careers? And what is your ambition? And what is your dream?
Mm.
And then you have such a great conversation with each other. Because then it's not anymore about, hey, do you have this software program what you did? Or do you have this experience prior? But it's more about, hey, how can we make sure that you become a great mechanic? And where do you want to specialize in? And what do you do in your free time? And what kind of hobbies do you have?
Mm.
It was such a relief. And people from hospitality or from the healthcare industry, they changed jobs to become a mechanic. And it also created a new environment and a lot of enthusiasm on the department because they got they started with hiring young people. All these young people were very driven to succeed. And they hired also different personalities that made the department more diverse and more energetic in the end.
Mm.
It was such a lovely project that we're currently doing, and it's something which you see in the market happening as well. Offering these traineeships to get people in, giving them the trust, and also not giving them a minimum wage job for that.
Yeah, what I love about it as well is that you look ahead. So you don't look at the resume and what someone has done, but you look at the potential within someone and what he or she could potentially do in the future. And I think that changes the whole conversation and makes it way more positive and looking forward. So that's super nice. So looking at the changes in the market, we've been talking about quite some interesting topics already. What is the biggest change that you see in the future where hiring managers or people and culture managers should be aware of?
one of the big changes people culture managers should be aware of is the incorporation of video. So video tells the story in a very unique way and shows you proof as well. So video will be a very big thing for a lot of recruitment challenges you can solve with video. So that's one of the things. The second one is your the involvement of your employees in company decisions. So making them ambassadors, making them part of the company or a co-owner of the company, even when they don't have shares maybe. A third relevant point for your company is how to stand out between your competitors. So what you're offering next to the base and the monetary things. So what makes your company unique? Especially when you now see that more companies are switching to social media to advertise, and they're creating better career pages. It's even more important nowadays than it was earlier to become unique and to show character and to show your unique company's personality. And the fourth is when you are gonna do outreach. This is especially to the recruiters. How can you make sure that you personalize? So people get a lot of offers on LinkedIn or on the social media or wherever. How can you make sure that you still give it a personal touch and that you really try to understand the potential candidate that you want to approach, and why can you make this offer appealing to them, and what is different in that regard from other companies, what other companies do.
Yeah.
So that's for example a major challenges that will come, but also possible solutions for yourself already.
Yeah. And one thing to close off, which I would like to add, is that this podcast called Redefine Growth, and growth should be about not only about profit and revenue, but also about the positive impact that you can make, and but also the positive impact on the people that you can make, right? So offering people a purposeful job is something I believe is a must-do for companies, right? So not only because you have a reason to get up in the morning, your job is useful, you contribute something, we have a strong feeling of creating that legacy, but it's also really relevant to attract the talent that you need to make your company successful, because it's not that cool to work at a big consultancy firm anymore. It's not that cool, and it's cool to work at a small company that has the ambition to make a positive impact, and it's going to be a change in the world that we live in. So another reason for entrepreneurs to redefine their ambition and make that mission more impactful, so you can also get the right people on board on that mission. And if they're looking for something like that, they should talk to you, because we're all about getting that top talent into more impactful, purposeful jobs. So they know how to find you, because we'll drop your link to your LinkedIn somewhere in the description. So Gino, thanks a lot for this conversation. So many interesting stuff we've been talking about, the secret tactics that you shared, how to come up with a really relevant, future-proof employee value proposition, and all the other stuff. So that was a lot of fun, man.
It was a lovely conversation, but it's also great to talk about people and their dreams, and how we can make sure that both companies and their dreams succeed, but also the people that want to join a new revolution can get the right job and get in touch with the right company. I always liked it. This is a topic that's very close to my heart. So yeah, it's great to have this talk with you, and I know you're a very big ambassador of impact and also caring about people, and that should be the major takeaway, where you just make sure that you care about your people and your future colleagues. Then it will all be fun, and it will all be a great journey ahead that we have.
Thanks, Gino. So, and if someone has some challenge or just want to have a chat with you about how they can improve their talent strategy, then I think you're happy to help, and we'll drop your link somewhere here.
For sure. It's always nice conversations to have. So right. Looking forward to that.
Thanks, man.
Thanks
Appreciate it. Cheers. Bye-bye.
Cheers.
So thanks for watching this episode on attracting the right talent for your business. We've been talking about some secret tactics we've been doing at Sprints and Sneakers, the importance of your employee value proposition, and how to make that one future-proof. I hope you really liked it, and I hope to see you next time.